What's good, family? How you guys doing? This is the last session of, or I think, yeah, the last session for the Asia series was yesterday or this morning, and I was able to engage price. Although it wasn't a profitable trade, as you can see, maybe I should draw this out. It wasn't a profitable trade, price returned back, to take my stops here. Right, and this is the reality of trading. 80 to almost 100% was done on this trade, and then price returned. But I would explain the trade idea and then we'll come back to this. So why was I selling? Very simple. If we go back to prior data, one of the things I like to repeat is to know what is going to happen, you need to understand what has happened or what has been right in the domain or in creating anything new. You have to do that in the domain of things that have existed. So if I'm going to look for what is price going to do, I need to know what price has done. And that's what we do when we backtest. We kind of look for what is that thing that price does, coherently or repeatedly, and how can we understand those patterns to then use that to engage price in the future. So if you look at yesterday before the sales, which I was able to profit from, right? We took out London's high of Wednesday and then ran lower. So going into the end of the day, also the same thing happened. We took out London's high of Thursday, right? So we see London's high being taken here, and look at how it happened there. One, two, three, three Indian patterns, accumulation, basically run on stops, as you might want to call it, right? If price is going to go lower, buy side liquidity must be eaten. The way I like to say it is sell side delivery or buy side liquidity is food for sell side delivery. And remember our three-step process: price takes out buy side liquidity, London's high, old highs here, right? And then the second thing, which is the most important step, break in market structure, willingness for price to move in that direction. It goes lower here, but doesn't break market structure. It then goes lower here. And some of you might say, breaking market structure here, and that's correct, right? Consecutive candles are closed below an old low, and you're trying to sell the premium of this high to this low. That would have been a very good entry. But I wasn't comfortable with that until we had another breaking market structure. So many times you have two breaking market structures. I like to wait for the second one, right? When he does this, we have price trying to rally that fails. That's what's called mitigation block. That's why I was selling this from. So at 2 a.m., which is the macro that I've told you to study for Asia session, it's one that I found to just be is like the sweet spot, like I said yesterday, like how 9:30 is to New York, 3 o'clock is to London session. 2 a.m. or 21 o'clock is that time for Asia session. So price breaks down first, and you're waiting for the return back into that premium level. Your stops should cover the high, because if you're saying you are bearish, old highs should not be taken out. That's why my stops were here, right? And I watched this, watch this, watch this, watch this. Had another entry here that came all the way down here, and finally I was losing this. I was able to scale out profits on this particular entry, but overall, we still ended the session at about minus 0.5 or thereabout, right? So that was, Asia session. I hope you learned something from this. What else could we have seen here? Why the price not come lower? Very simple. It's not ready to. There's nothing you can do. You don't determine, when price is going to take a particular level of liquidity or not. In fact, it could still do that today, right? And that's the reality of price. I was engaged in New York session, but this is not the session for that, right? It was a profitable session, but this one was a loss. And again, this is the reality of trading. You need to know that not all your trades are going to be profitable. You're going to take losses sometimes, and that's part of the business. All right, family, I would catch you in the next one next week. Bless up and have a profitable weekend.